Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry we were delayed today, but we really have a lot going on. And I have to tell you that we've had a lot of surprises today, so we're going to have to move the agenda around a little bit, so I hope you'll bear with us. First of all, I hope you're all enjoying lunch. I hope there's enough out there for everybody. And Mr. Grasso, would you please guide us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, if we could have a moment of silence for all of our first responders and people who put themselves in peril to help us, and our veterans as well. Thank you. Thank you. As I said, we're going to have to move things around a little bit today. I hope you'll bear with us. Our Dr. Lama, who was supposed to be here, will not be attending because she has an emergency this morning. And we have to understand that when we have doctors come in, that sometimes they have emergencies. So in her place, we have a gentleman who was supposed to come to next month's meeting, but we've invited him this morning, and he was wonderful to respond to us. Kevin Byrne is here. He is a former policeman, if I'm not mistaken. You correct me. He also now does security for Lakeland High School. He's a scoutmaster, a father, a husband. I could go on, but Kevin, I'll let you get up, and he's going to talk to us about smoke alarms. And the reason I asked him was because I have been stopped a number of times in the past month or so from seniors as I'm out shopping or I'm in the bank or wherever, and they have specifically asked me about their situations with smoke alarms. So I know that Kevin knows a lot about this, and I've asked him to work on it, and he agreed to come here this morning. So we're very happy to welcome you here today, Kevin. If you'd like to get up and talk to us. Thank you very much. And thank you for coming in at such short notice. We appreciate it.
Very well. Good afternoon, everybody. As Rosemary stated, my name is Kevin Burns, and that's not to be confused with Assemblyman Kevin Byrne. That's how I have to introduce myself these days. And I am here to talk about smoke alarms. Just a little background on myself. I am a 25-year veteran of the NYPD. I retired a few years ago. But I was also the son of a New York City firefighter, and I was a volunteer firefighter myself. So I have some experience with smoke alarms. After I retired, I took the New York State Fire Safety Director course in an attempt for post-retirement employment, which I never followed up on, but that's okay. Now, as Rosemary stated also, I do work at Lakeland High School. I work in the afternoons, and unfortunately I'm going to have to try and buzz through this because after I leave here, I go right up there and stop traffic for the buses so the kids can get home safely. So without boring you with all the state laws and regulations, bottom line regarding smoke alarms is that they are required in every home, townhome, and apartment. They're all required to have smoke alarms, specifically in sleeping areas and hallways. They can either be installed hardwired, which means that the smoke alarms are electric with battery backups. And for those who live in like Trump Towers or Jefferson Village, they know if the alarm goes off, the concierge will know about it. That's how you know it's an electric unit. And then there are the more common that most people have, the battery-operated ones like this one here. I'm going to focus on the battery-operated ones because they're more common, but more importantly, they need more attention to ensure that they are working correctly. A lot of this, I'm sure you all know, but I'm just going to go over it anyway. A smoke alarm should be checked at least twice a year to ensure that the battery is working. It was recommended that to remember this, you should change the batteries in your unit when the clocks change from daylight savings to standard time and vice versa. So it just like takes all the guesswork out of it. Mm-hmm. Oh, did I change? When's the last time I changed them? Just remember, when the clocks change your batteries.
Good idea.
To test the battery in most units, you merely have to press and hold the test button in the front of the unit, and I will do it now if you want to hold your ears. That was a quick beep, but if you hold it long enough, it'll do a quick test like this. That should be it. That means that the unit is working.
Okay.
The life. Thank you. Okay. The life expectancy of an average smoke alarm is generally 10 years, after which their sensors can begin to lose sensitivity. The test button might still work. You know, you can change the batteries for 10 years, and the unit will still work, but the smoke sensor might start to lose its ability to detect smoke at that point. To test how long your unit is, there's usually, in most cases, on the back, a born-on date. I know it's hard to see from here. This one says it was born on 2017, September 17th. So this one is good for a few more years. Effective April, and I'm going to show you very briefly with this one how to change the batteries. It's very simple. On this one, there are different ones, but this one you just pull it out. There are 2 AA batteries in here. You take the batteries out, push them back in, close it, it'll beep, and you're ready to go. Others, they got to press a button and it pops out. They're very, a lot of different models, but it's very easy to change the batteries in most instances. However, in effective April 1st of 2019, New York State passed a law. All alarms offered for sale in New York State must be powered by a sealed, non-removable battery with a minimum battery life of 10 years. That means the life of the battery, when the life of the battery is up, you're not capable of changing the battery. It stays in there, so you're going to have to change the entire housing, the entire unit. Now, just on a personal note, I bought one of those 10-year ones, and within a year, it started beeping nonstop. So there are issues where they don't work. Contacted the company, they sent us a new one right away. So when Rosemary asked me to speak today, she informed me that the biggest problem facing seniors regarding smoke alarms, particularly those living alone, is accessing those alarms high up on the walls, specifically to test them or change the batteries. We had a brief discussion about possibly getting Boy Scouts to do some community service and assist the seniors with the replacement of the smoke alarms. I agree this is a wonderful way of the Scouts to interact with seniors in our community. As Rosemary stated, I am a former Boy Scout leader. I have 2 Eagle Scouts for sons, and right now my daughter is a Girl Scout who is about to go for her Gold Award, which is the Girl Scout equivalent of Eagle Scout. And she almost immediately jumped on this idea as a possible Gold Award. What she wants to do, and Mr. Slater, my daughter is probably going to reach out to you. What she wants to do is get a list together of seniors who might want assistance from the Girl Scouts in changing their units, whether it's just to change the batteries or to get the new units with the non-changeable batteries, and then get a list of Girl Scouts who are willing to volunteer. So through the town, we're going to try and set something up where all you got to do is make a phone call to the town hall and say, listen, I'm a senior, I live here, and I'd like my smoke alarm changed. And the town will work on, and this is preliminary stages. This is not something that's actually going on right now. And the town should be able to say, okay, we have these Girl Scouts who are looking for volunteer service. Let me call them up. So hopefully that's something that we can get going. My daughter, like I said, is going to reach out to the town. She first has to check with the Girl Scout authorities to make sure this is a viable project for a Girl Scout Gold Award. We don't even know if it is. Either way, whether it's Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, we can work something out where we're going to try and get something going where Scouts come and help out seniors who need help. Not only is it a good way for the seniors the Scouts to get community service hours, I think it's a great way for the Scouts to interact with the senior community. With that, I'll take any questions before I head off to work.
I just want to know, are they easy enough to install?
Generally, yes. If they're up on if you can reach them, there's usually a housing up there. And this particular one, I just reach up and twist it, and it stays up.
Well, I was just wondering, when we try to initiate this program, if the seniors buy it and have it at home, maybe our Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts might be able to install.
To install the whole, yes. Yeah, it's like
for
2 or
them.
3 screws, 2 or 3 little screws.
Right.
They drill it in
Right.
the housing, and then they just pop this on.
Okay.
So these are available where?
Home Depot, any hardware store.
So the senior would need to purchase the
Yes,
element.
the senior would need to purchase the material, and if they already have the material and they just want the batteries changed, the
And
Scout
then we would
come.
call a number at town hall, which would be which number?
Oh, again, it's not set up yet, so I
Okay,
don't even know.
okay.
We're just working on this as a possible project.
You're not giving
so.
us your number.
I wouldn't mind, but
I'll give Kevin the number every month later.
yeah, Ed has it.
Don't call me.
Ed.
I'm mechanically just not capable at all. But so that's good. Okay, so this is something we're going to work on.
Yes, we're going to look forward to
And
this.
I'm going to get back to those seniors who contacted me to tell them about this.
Okay.
And just to keep their eyes and ears open. And we'll be supplying them with a number that they'll be able to call, and then you'll take care of the rest from there. Once they have the
right,
the
once
alarm,
the okay from, yeah.
and you'll set up the date with the number that they call, and that'll all be put into place. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. You can keep talking. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. Are there any questions? Yes.
Say something about the carbon monoxide.
The question is about the carbon monoxide. Yes, this one is a dual alarm. It has carbon monoxide in. Generally, I don't know if they're required or not, to be honest with you, but it's a good idea to have them, especially if you have a furnace in your house. Usually, they say those can be down low because that's where the carbon goes. But like I said, this one is dual use, and that's what most of them, or a lot of them, are these days. Yes.
As you're speaking to Yorktown, are you going to incorporate this in Portland?
Well, I'm a.
You work for Lakeland.
Yeah, this is true, but I'm a scout leader in Yorktown. I live in Yorktown. I could mention it to the scout leaders in Cortland, and maybe they can do it with their town.
Anyone
Grasso?
else have any questions, Mr. Grasso?
Yes, you spoke about the battery operated. What about the life expectancy of a hardwire?
Those are also about 10 years. Generally, an alarm company deals with that, and they'll be the ones to change it. So you'd have to call them up to change it. That's not something that the scouts can really help you with.
Anyone else?
A lot of times I find they're too sensitive. Every time I'm cooking something, turn on the oven. And the thing is going off, and I got to stand in front of the thing trying to get it to shut up.
Yeah, they can be sensitive. There have been times where I popped open the battery just so it wouldn't set it off, and then I realized a week later that the battery is still out. So it's kind of just sitting there doing nothing. But
It is a challenge, but they're worth it.
oh, absolutely, they save lives, and that's why they're required. I'm really against government intrusion in most cases, but this as a law, I'm very happy with.
Well, thank
Wonderful.
You. Thank you
Okay.
very
I was
much.
going to say, the fire department also advises you keep a fire extinguisher right in your bedroom. I said, well, why in the bedroom? Because if you have to escape and the fire is in your living room or
Right.
your
I have-
rest area,
Yeah.
you have to have it to be able to work your
That's a
way
good
out.
idea. Yeah.
And how long does a fire extinguisher last? I think I've had mine about 30 years. Would that be too long?
There's expiration dates on them. Yeah, so it's depending on what kind you have. Just check the expiration date.
Okay. Very
Thank
good.
you very
All
much.
right. If there's nothing else.
Any other
Sorry, I
questions?
have to rush out and get to work. Yes.
Dispose the extinguisher. Where do you dispose them? I've called different agencies and nobody knows what you can do with them once they're down.
That's a good question. I don't have the answer to that right now. I'm sorry. Yes.
Westchester County Hospital is a hazardous waste program for Westchester. They are open on Tuesdays, Thursdays, from 10 to 2, and on Saturdays. You can take everything down, paints, glass, whatever it is, but you have to be a resident of the community that contributes to that program in Westchester County.
Right.
And they'll take everything.
Okay. Yeah. The initial question. I'm sorry. For the microphone was how can we get rid of smoke? I'm sorry.
Fire extinguisher.
Fire extinguishers. I didn't have the answer to that, but I was just informed that Westchester County has a program where we can.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm
Well,
sorry. I
thank
really have
you.
to get
Thank
to
you.
work.
We
The buses are
appreciate you
and they
coming
don't
by.
stop.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Next on our agenda is our newly elected supervisor, Matt Slater. I want to tell you that he drove down here. I hope you kept the speed limit, Supervisor. He drove down from Albany, where he was at supervisor's school, and made sure that he was back in time for this meeting. So thank you very much, Matt. Thank you.
Well, it's great to be here. Great to be here. I want to thank, of course, Hudson Valley Hospital for our lunch today.
Yes.
Maybe we can get them to sponsor dinner for the board meetings.
Well, I don't know, man.
He won't. It's okay.
Say no, Catherine.
He won't. Listen, it's great to be here, and very excited. It's been a very exciting first couple weeks. I know that he just stepped outside. Well, he's actually in the back over here. I do want to make sure that everyone knows Councilman Ed Lackerman, who's right here. Councilman Lackerman is your liaison, your town board appointed liaison for the senior advisory committee. So by all means, use him as a resource. I know it was actually one of the committees that you personally requested, because I know that you're so passionate about helping our seniors and serving our seniors. So very excited about that. I also want to introduce another very important person in the back, and that's my executive assistant, Jenna Belcastro. Jenna, say hello. We've got an open door policy in my office. So you just come right on upstairs, or if you need, give us a call and we can come downstairs and meet you. But Jenna's the person that you'll all be interacting with, and she's been doing a phenomenal job in our first couple weeks. Just a couple of things just to touch upon. If you did not see the news, how many Con Ed customers do we have here? Con Ed customers?
Yeah.
So just to make sure you know that they announced today that your rates are going up. The PSC approved the rate increase. It's not the best news I'd like to be sharing with everybody. But the increase for the first year, if you're a Con Ed gas customer, it's an 8.8% increase. Which translates to $14.44 monthly. And for your electric, for the first year, it's a 4.7% increase, which translates to $6.57 on average monthly.
When does that go into effect? No.
They approved it, and they announced it yesterday. The PSC approved it. And I know that I know my predecessor publicly opposed it. From my standpoint, we're having a real energy crisis in this state, especially in this region. And to see our rates continue to rise, obviously, especially for our seniors and folks on fixed incomes, is a major concern. But the PSC did approve it. It was announced officially this morning, or I believe yesterday, and again this morning. So I did want to share that unfortunate news with everybody here. For NYSEG customers, we all know that they proposed I believe it was a 23% increase on their electric rates. The PSC has yet to 23%. We had a hearing here with the PSC commissioner. It's a major problem. It's a major problem. But we had a public hearing here last year where we had a whole wide range of folks, including myself, speak obviously in opposition of it. Also, in regards to NYSEG, for those who don't know, that the governor and also the PSC handed down, it was the largest penalty for performance from Winter Storms Quinn and Riley, which we all suffered through here together. So they handed down the largest financial penalty in the history of the state to NYSEG specifically. It doesn't really fix the situation in my mind. I think we need to see more action. Better communication. During that time, for those who don't know, I was chief of staff to our state senator, Terrence Murphy, and so we covered 22 municipalities, and the communication from our utilities, especially NYSEG, was non-existent, and so it really made life difficult, not just governmentally, but for homeowners and residents. And so my feeling is, before you raise rates, let's see some improvement in service. And so right now we're waiting to hear back on the PSC about how they're going to tackle the NYSEG rate increase. I know there's a question in the back. Just give me a few minutes here. We did actually have a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce on Wednesday morning, and we had Robeson Oil, the president of Robeson Oil there. Actually, Robeson Energy is now what they want to be called, because they're not just an oil company anymore. They do a whole wide range of energy specific initiatives, which is really interesting to hear. And he raised a lot of concerns about the future energy strategy and energy plans for the state of New York and the Hudson Valley region. And at the end of the day, it comes down to a balance. You all know that Indian Point is closing. The first reactor will be turned off at the end of the year, with the second shortly after. And there's still a lot of questions about what that impact's going to be on us. From an energy standpoint, But overall, what New York State plans on doing to mitigate the loss of energy that we're going to see. According to David Singer, again, the president of Robeson, it comes to a balanced approach. And we all want to see more renewables. Obviously, we recognize the importance of renewables, but there has to be a balance there with your main load. And so that's something that the state really needs to tackle, and something that we had a representative from Senator Harkin's office join us as well, and something that we discussed with them. So moving on, if I could, and then happy to open up and answer some questions. I see some veterans here, some proud veterans. And I can't tell you how excited I am to let everyone know that we, in our first meeting, passed a resolution to establish Yorktown's Veterans Advisory Committee.
Yeah, we saw that.
Which we are incredibly happy about and proud to have. I think, personally, I can just tell you, any way we can recognize and honor our veterans, you just sign me up. Not a problem. And Councilman Lackerman, once again, stepped up to the plate, and he's going to be the liaison, the town board appointed liaison to that committee as well. We have our first planning meeting coming up. So if there are any veterans in the room who want to, I know two gentlemen over here have already expressed interest, but if there is anyone who wants to participate in that committee, please let Councilman Lachterman know, and we're going to add you to the list, and we're going to get that ball moving very, very quickly for our veterans. So, yes, sir.
Right. My suggestion is that you contact the veterans organizations and have them submit a name, because you have American Legion, VFW, Purple Heart, KWV, and VVA.
Right.
And if they can give you a name, then you can...
Yeah, so what Mr. Breitbart was saying for the mic is his recommendation, and we've heard it from others as well, is to have some of our veteran organizations, our accredited veteran organizations, essentially nominate members to sit on the committee, which is something that I've no problem doing, and I think that's something that I think Councilman Lachterman is working on as well. So I think that's a great first step for us to look at. Absolutely.
I was at the meeting of BVA, the Vets of Foreign Wars, this past Sunday.
Yep.
And they were very much interested on it.
Yeah. No, we've had great support from the VFW, great support from the American Legion, great support across the board. I mean, it's people are very excited about it.
Senator Hartman has a meeting this month at the American Legion. I'll give you
I don't know anything about that, but
it's on his calendar. I think it's the 27th. In a second.
Okay. Well, first I'm hearing of it, but apparently Senator Harkin has a veterans meeting this month here in Yorktown, so we'll get that information and distribute that appropriately once we have it.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he's also having a meeting at the John C. Hart Library. I think that was a date that had been postponed from a previous date.
Right.
So anybody who has any questions with Senator Harkin can either go there, or we are expecting, if he's not in session, he's supposed to be here next month at this meeting. And I'd like to have all the elected officials in at least once a year during, we meet for 10 months, so that the seniors and the citizens can ask them questions directly that they're concerned about. So I just wanted to interject that.
Yeah, absolutely. Accessibility is a key component to everything we do, and Senator Harkin is, and as well as Assemblyman Byrne, have been great at that. And but once we get that information, we'll obviously distribute it. I forgot to mention, obviously, one of the most pressing matters that our community is facing, and that's the recent vandalism. I can't believe I even forgot to mention that. But just for those who don't know, first weekend of the year, between roughly 11:30 p.m. on Friday and about roughly 4 a.m. on Saturday, we had a string of vandalism in town here. Hit St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Mohegan Lake, John C. Hart Library, First Presbyterian Church. It hit the Yorktown stage over at the Albert Capellini Center, and the Old Stone Church of St. Pat's. A lot of this a lot of this was windows that were broken. John C. Hart Library had 17 panes of windows broken. Here at the stage, the front glass doors were completely shattered. And Old Stone St. Pat's Church had 90-year-old. They didn't do a synagogue. They did the menorah at the track. I apologize. They did not hit any synagogues or Jewish houses of worship. They did topple the menorah at the track, which was donated from Chabad of Yorktown, and as well as a menorah that was at St. Mary's Episcopal Church. At this point in time, our Yorktown Police Department has been phenomenal, absolutely incredible. We're getting assistance from the FBI, state police, county DA's office, and the investigation is ongoing. So I really can't say much more other than no one needs to feel alarmed. No one needs to feel nervous. We protect everyone's right to religious freedom, as well as your ability to express and worship in any way you feel so moved. And the chief has been a great partner for us. Our police department, our detectives bureau have been working constantly, chasing down any and all leads, reviewing security footage from every part of town that we believe was impacted. And I am still very optimistic that we're going to see a close to this unfortunate and tragic and hateful episode. But we will not let it define us. I've said that before. We're not letting this define what this community is. I had Cardinal Dolan up in, one second, Mr. Kaufman. I had Cardinal Dolan actually visit. For those who don't know, he was in Yorktown Saturday and Sunday. And he said it best. He said this is completely contrary to what Yorktown is, yes. What Yorktown stands for. And his leadership's been fantastic. His partnership's been great. But it's something that obviously we need to be vigilant about. It's raised issues from the town standpoint. And so we are looking at having safety assessments done in all of our public buildings, for all of our public buildings, in conjunction with the Yorktown Police Department. And that's something that's going to be happening shortly. And then we'll be able to make educated decisions on how we want to proceed and make sure, like I said, we're doing our part in making sure that anyone who comes into our public buildings, safety is obviously an utmost priority for all of us. And with that being said, I know, Mr. Kaufman, you got a question.
I have two questions. The first one is, how many members you're going to have on that Veterans Board?
I don't think it's set. The question was, how many members are we going to have on the Veterans Committee? We have not put a finite number on that. A lot of that had to do with the fact that we've had so much support expressed and so many people who want to join. So we are going to have, like I said, a planning meeting in the next few weeks. By the end of the month is my hope. And we're going to be able to iron out those fine details.
Second
Yes,
thing.
sir.
When I chaired this board 4 or 5 years ago, I suggested that you put a camera at the back entrance of the YCC building, and I was turned down. I got the cameras put inside the building, but I kept pushing for the one on the outside of the building, but they kept turning me down. Now, had you had that, you would have known who did all this damage.
You're right. The issue that what Mr. Kaufman's bringing up is cameras that he had advocated for in the past at YCC. So we have no external cameras at the YCC 6th grade school, Albert Cappellini Center, whatever you want to call it. It's got like 4 different names.
Too many,
It's
too
the ACC,
numerous.
YCC 6th grade school, right? I mean,
Right.
that's,
I still call it the 6th grade school.
Yeah, exactly. But to Mr. Kaufman's point, that's something that obviously is of paramount concern. If the individual or individuals had broken the glass at the door, the back door itself, there was a camera there.
There is a camera there, yeah.
There was no camera over at the Yorktown stage doors. If the individual or individuals broke one more window over at the John C. Hart Library, there was a camera there.
They probably knew that. That's why they didn't
So, obviously, and this is, in regards to our safety upgrades and safety assessments, something that, I think the entire town government and our board realizes this needs to be addressed. And I trust our police department. They're going to do a full safety assessment, and we're going to be able to prioritize what the needs are and then make those budgetary decisions over an extended period of time. I know Mr. McVetti had some questions.
Question about the fine levied on New York State Gas and Electric.
Yeah.
How much was it?
I don't remember off the top of my head, sir. And the question, again, was how much was the fine levied? I don't recall off the top of my head, but I can get you that information.
Where does that money go?
My understanding, and the question was, where does the money go? My understanding, according to the governor's office, is it goes into hardening of their system to prevent future outages. That's one of the parameters that they're going to be. They're basically what they do is they force them to take their own money and reinvest it in their own service and systems to help prevent issues like this from happening again. So I don't recall the exact dollar amount.
They are going to reinvest.
Yes.
Every time the state gets money, they put it into general fund. It doesn't go to the affected people.
That's right.
If you're affected by this thing, then you should be compensated.
Right.
He
For the, yeah,
he,
just
ha-
so the,
he
for-
has no microphone, so
yeah,
you may
just
have
for
to
the,
repeat.
For the microphone, it was the comment was about how when these things are levied, it goes to the general fund and not to the impacted people. So a couple of thoughts on that. First off, during the storms, Con Ed had a reimbursement program that there was a no questions asked reimbursement program. NYSEG did not, which at the time we raised when I was working in the state legislature under Senator Murphy. For those who don't know, the NYSEG's territory, I believe, frankly, is absurd. It's the only territory that's not fully congruent. So basically, they go from they're over in Rochester in central New York, and then you have this whole swath of New York State that is other providers, and then there's us. And so it's not contiguous, and it's the only, frankly, it's the only power company that does not have a contiguous territory. And so when they have to shift resources and shift supplies and shift equipment and shift workers, they're literally going from one side of the state to our side of the state. And I think it's quite clear, in my estimation, from dealing with it firsthand and from sitting in on a number of state hearings, that's a major deficiency in their operations and something I think the state really needs to take a hard look at and frankly, correct.
Well, getting back to the other subject that you were talking about, it's my understanding that the town now has a liaison to the Interfaith Council,
Correct.
which
Yes.
will examine everything that happened and what to do about it in the future.
So it was interesting. One of the things that I wanted to address coming in was the Interfaith Council. I see incredible value in those individuals. They are in our community. They are incredibly knowledgeable members of our community. They hear and see everything that happens in this community, and I think that they're a really important source of information, from a governmental standpoint.
Right.
And partnering with them was always going to be a priority of ours. Obviously, what happened accelerated that. But yes, so the town, if I can just take one more step back, at our first town board meeting, we actually had a closed session meeting with the Interfaith Council. It was a town board. The chief of police, Chief Noble, I just really can't say enough about how impressed I've been with him. And we had a very frank and honest conversation with the interfaith community and their council. And Councilman Diana, again, just like Councilman Lachterman has been doing, Councilman Diana volunteered to serve as their liaison. And so now we have a direct link and a direct line of communication between that council who meets monthly, and Rabbi Weiner is the head of that council. They meet monthly, and so with Councilman Diana's help, we're going to have a direct line of communication
That's
to them
wonderful.
and vice versa.
And they can determine together what perhaps they should do to address this so that it doesn't happen in the future with regard to security and safety and all of
Yeah,
that.
so we're already working with, correct. So we're already working with, I already reached out to Senator Harcum. I spoke with him when I was in Albany. The governor has announced a financial program to help houses of worship get security cameras and license plate readers. So we are engaged in that process right now to see what options that we have and how we can partner together in making that. And that's something that's going to be brought to the Interfaith Council to see if there's anyone interested in participating in that.
And they have to determine what their requirements are.
Yes.
So that perhaps the town could help them to sort of guide them through this whole situation. I know that Mr. Davila, who sometimes comes here with Senator Harcum, expressed to me, I happened to bump into him, his willingness to be helpful with that. So.
Yeah, he was at the chamber breakfast on Wednesday, and he's a great resource for us, and he's always willing to partner. And I think that's the key with government. I think it's all about how can we work together to come up with solutions. I don't like to focus on problems. I only want to find solutions, and the only way we can do that is by working together. And so, from Senator Harcum, I give him a lot of credit. I texted him, and he called me within 5 minutes about the idea, and we're already off and running. And our next steps is
Wonderful.
to engage the Interfaith Council to see to see engage who would be interested in that program and taking the steps included in that program. The money is being funded by the Department of Homeland Security. So there's a whole process. Obviously, it's a grant process that they never make easy, but it's something that we can definitely take a look at and partner together to make it available.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself? I mean, I'm finding it very, I guess when you've been here for 47 years, as I have, I was 2, by the way, when I moved here, to see people like Chief Noble, who grew up in this community, and to see yourself, who also grew up in this community, now taking on a leadership role, I think this is a wonderful thing. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
No, thank you. Quickly, I'm a product of this community. I was raised in this town. My mom and my grandmother still live in the house that they raised me in. I see Miss Carol here. How are you? Went to school with her son. And, it's great to be able to serve the community that you love. And now I've got 2 kids. I've got a 4-year-old who's, he's 4 going on 17. And we have a 4-month-old little girl. And they're going to be coming to hang out here at 3:30. They think it's like their playground now. It's hysterical. But it's such a special community. And so, I believe in public service. I don't shy away from that. I believe in the importance of public service. And again, I don't see it as partisan politics. I see, like I said, I will partner with anybody. I really don't care, who you are, where you come from. It doesn't make a difference to me. If you have a solution on the table, that's what I want to talk about. And I went to Yorktown. Yeah, I was on the Yorktown side. Played soccer, ran track all through my high school years. Excuse me? Well, listen, I have a lot of friends from Lakeland, let me tell you. A lot of friends from the Lakeland side.
Matt, just a correction on the date for the Veterans meeting with Hartman. It's on the 30th, Thursday at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
American Legion. They're serving food also.
So Thursday, 6 o'clock, American Legion is Senator Harkin's veterans group that's meeting?
The veterans, yeah.
And that's at the Legion or the VFW?
American Legion.
American Legion. Okay. So again, that'll be, and we'll share that information on our. That's one of the things that we're also trying to do is be more proactive with our communication. A lot of it we're moving digitally, but obviously we're trying to find other ways. Just people get bombarded these days. There's just so much that people get bombarded with on so many different communication channels. So we're trying to be more proactive and improve how we communicate with our residents and let everyone know what's going on. Because there's a lot of great things going on with this town. A lot of great things, and a lot of things that everyone should be really proud of and excited about. I see a couple of hands go up. Yes, Mrs. Carroll.
I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for stepping up to this unbelievable job, and especially because I heard that you were up all night the night of the vandalism.
Yep.
Going to every place, and I think so far.
Thank you.
Get a right for me, and I'm sure everybody else here.
Thank you. I know. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Absolutely, it's a two-way street.
You have to explain what she said because, as I said, she has no microphone.
Sure.
She thanked him for stepping up.
You can say it.
You say it.
She thanked him for stepping up and taking on this role, coming from this community, and you can take it from there, I think. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But
now that we've embarrassed you.
Yeah. To Mrs. Carroll's point, I mean, we were at the stage at 7 o'clock in the morning when the police had discovered the vandalism over there. That was the first site that was discovered by one of our patrols, and the chief and I were there together, and from there, we everything else started to slowly come in, and next thing was we thought it was one isolated incident. And we had literally just started to break, and then the chief calls and says, "Matt, we got more. We have to go up to the library." And we shot up to the library, and we met with the library staff. And I got to give our staff. I mean, I swell with pride with this stuff. Our library staff, our building and maintenance staff. We had one of our building and maintenance employees who wasn't even on, and he was just driving by, and he saw all the lights, and he pulled right in, and he got out of his car. He rolled up his sleeves. What do I do? Tell me what you want me to do. And he was there for the whole day. On a day that he was supposed to be off. I mean, that's what this town's about. With our library, again, our staff, they had you have this situation, and it's not something that you wake up thinking you're going to walk into. And they kept the library open, operational. They kept everyone calm. They had a gallery. Yeah, I'll give you two seconds. They had a gallery, an art gallery, and a concert. still went on. So, again, it's a tribute to our employees and a tribute, to their abilities and their commitment to this community. I know you had your hand up, ma'am. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, sure. It's funny because you come in with a set list, and so
You mean
I came
baptism
in
by
with
fire?
a list that was about this big,
Yeah.
and that list now goes down there like a roll of toilet paper. But I think a couple of things. So two of the main things we wanted to tackle up front was our veterans committee, and we also are tackling climate change. Those are two important things that we identified coming in. And so in addition to the Veterans Committee at our first meeting, we established a Climate Smart Communities Task Force, something that I'm going to personally be leading because there's a lot of opportunity there that's going to help our local environment and our community and help us emerge as a leader in battling local climate change. Beyond that, obviously there's a whole slew of priorities and issues. I look at it as taking a holistic approach and a holistic view of how our town government functions, the services we provide, and how we communicate with people. And we're already right now, we're exploring things such as putting our parks registration online. And there's our park superintendent. Look at that, Jim. Perfect timing. Whoa, we practiced that.
I guess.
We practiced that. But Jim's been doing a great job, and we're going to be moving to an online platform in addition to your traditional way of, and I say in addition to traditional way of signing up for our rec programs. But Jim can tell you, and I'm sure that we're going to see firsthand that our rec programs are going to grow substantially because you're giving more people an additional way of signing up for the great programs that we do offer, and it helps educate and it helps communicate with our residents all the great things. And I know we have one of our parks commissioners here, Commissioner Falcone, who's been doing a great job over at the Par 3 Golf Course, among a number of other projects that he's been involved in. So there's things like that. So it's modernizing how we operate. There are some internal things that we're looking at that I think that we can raise the bar on. But also for me, a lot of this is communicating with you, the constituents, but also making sure it's a two-way conversation. And so obviously coming to things like this is fantastic. Getting your feedback and acting on your feedback is obviously something that we're going to be working on tremendously. And the other thing I would probably point to is affordability. I think that's an issue that the entire community as a whole, sees and recognizes. And there's a couple of ways that we can and we hope to tackle the affordability issue of our town. Again, my mom and my grandmother still live in the house that they raised me in, but I've had the conversation with my mom, and there's no denying the fact that we're getting to a point where there are people in our community, they need to downsize. They're looking to downsize because the taxes continue to go up, our energy rates continue to go up, and it really becomes a struggle. And so working, I think, with this organization, working with our partners in government, I think we can find ways to alleviate that issue, that burden, that financial burden that homeowners are facing, young families and seniors alike, because I think a lot of the struggles that we see in that one demographic, you actually do see in the other, in regards to the affordability of living in town here and raising a family here. But also making sure that when you reach that point, we don't want to run you out of town. We want you to stay here. You help build this community, our seniors. And so it's something that I know that Councilman Lachterman and I and Councilman Diana and Councilwoman Roker and Councilman Patel, we agree on these things. And so we're taking a hard look at all of that. We're looking to, again, partner with this organization to provide us some feedback and some insight as to different ways that we can go about accomplishing these things. Some things I've discussed in the past, I look at our tax structure. And our tax structure is just very heavy on homeowners. In fact, 80%, according to the chamber. And Tony Grasso, who is here, can tell you in great detail about this because he helped headline this and coordinate the study. But the problem we have, though, is when you look at where else does the town get money, it shrinks very fast. And so when we have to look at our options and when we have to go pay for new boilers or pay for new services, frankly, the way the town is structured, the only place that we go to are all of you. And I think that needs to change. And I think we change that by looking at different business opportunities, by growing our business community. But I'm not just saying large retail. I'm not just saying one way. Like, again, going back to what David Singer had said at that energy meeting, it's about a balance. And I think that we've got opportunities to bring in new age technology. I think we can be looking at job creators, things that, companies who can come here, .coms, biotech, high tech, who pay folks, good salaries, who are going to be able to afford to live here. And that offsets the burden on our homeowners, because we're going to be growing our industrial and business base, which right now, proportionally, is the lowest in the county when you look at the whole tax structure. So those are some ways that we can address it. Obviously, we're looking, of course, we're under the 2% tax cap, which of course helps in a lot of ways. But I think you also have to look at how projects like the Hallett's Mills Sewer District, that has a direct impact on our tax cap requirements. And so, you got to look at everything 5-dimensionally. It's the 5-dimensional chess. But it's obviously a priority. So those are just some of the things that we're working on. Yes.
Would you have any insight about how the state goes deciding with the state roads that are part of the town infrastructure, how they decide which roads to repair and how to repair them?
Sure.
Because sometimes I've noticed there's developed a fondness for these drag strips, they're called.
Yeah.
Doing the full
Yeah.
repair.
Yeah. Sure. So I'm actually going to be meeting with, and I'm happy to come back with a report to all of you. I'm meeting with our DOT regional director, Lance McMillan, later this month, I believe, Jenna? This month? Next week. Even faster. What do you know? Time flies when you're having fun. And so I can tell you from my experience, a lot of that has to do, they budget their projects out 5 years plus, and they get the money and then from the state legislature, obviously. As to specific methods of why they pave or repave or resurface in a certain manner, I'm not entirely sure, so I can raise that with him, and I'm happy, like I said, to bring back a concrete answer for you. But there are issues that we're facing here in town that directly relate to DOT. Like you said, but they oversee places like Route 202, 132, 35, 118. All your state roads are managed and maintained by New York State. And I know that people call my office, they call our good friend Dave Paganelli, and there's only so much that we can do in those instances. I'll give you a prime example. I was driving up from my mom's about 2 weeks ago, and on 132, I don't know what happened, but there was about 100 feet of just garbage. It looked like a truck had just had like one of the bags just ripped, and there's just garbage everywhere. And so I called over to our R&R department that oversees garbage here in town, and because it's a state road, we had to engage the state DOT just to go pick up the garbage. Now, I don't care who picks up the garbage. I said, listen, I'll pull over. I'll pick up the garbage. I don't care. I just want to get the garbage cleaned up. It looks terrible for the town. And it's unsightly, and frankly, it's disgusting. Yeah. But that's just, going back to the partnership and understanding the different layers of government. Luckily, we have a very good relationship. I can tell you that the garbage was picked up by the end of the day, which is great. But the fact that, we're limited in what we can and cannot do on those roads, I know can provide a challenge, but those are all things that we're all working on and working together about.
Next month, we're going to have, tentatively anyway, it's not set in stone yet, we're going to have someone here from the Westchester Putnam Census Bureau.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes.
So this is something I know you're interested in. And could you explain why it's so important for us to do the census? Because we were underreported, I believe, as a town last time, and how that affects funding that comes out. Could you?
Sure. So the census is up this year. You're going to be receiving notification in the mail. It is critically important for the town of Yorktown that we all participate in the census. We have a committee that we established. It's a Census 2020 committee to help educate, promote. You're going to see tables at the Chamber Home Show. We already have a table that we're going to be setting up. You're going to see us on the weekends, over at the mall or out in front of Acme, coming to meetings like these, going to the Nutrition Center, going to Jefferson Village and everywhere else in between, to educate and assist people, to make sure that you actually participate in the census. Critically important for two reasons. First, our congressional seats are dictated on the census. There is an expectation that New York State as a whole is going to be losing between 1 and 2 congressional seats. Obviously, it's a problem. It's a real problem because, one, it shows that our population has declined. That's how congressional seats are dictated, by your population. But two, when it comes to proper representation of our needs locally and in New York State, we're losing 2 more, possibly, or at least 1 more voice in that regard. So, and in addition, a lot of funding possibilities, grant possibilities, are also dictated by the result of the census. To Rosemary's point, Yorktown and Westchester County as a whole, we were undercounted 10 years ago. For anyone living, does anyone live off of in the Wood Street area, Perry, north side of town? No. So that's good because that side, that one particular neighborhood or that one piece of town actually was designated by the county as one of the most undercounted parts of our community. Less than 50% actually participated in the census. So, a lot of this is just, it's just like voting. It's just encouraging people to participate, making sure you understand how to participate, and provide easy ways to do it. We're going to be having sessions at the John C. Hart Library where you can come. The whole thing can be done online, right, at one of our computers. So we'll have designated sessions that we're going to provide to all of you to help complete the census, to make sure you're counted. And any questions that you have, like I said, we have a committee that's going to be put together. If there's anybody who wants to be part of that committee, we are looking for members. And again, it's going to be just helping us promote, talk it up a bit to your neighbors, your family, your friends, and then when we do have public events to assist people in filling out the census.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but is there any way that it would actually affect funding for senior issues here in town? For instance,
I think it's all
for instance, the nutrition center.
I think it's all interconnected. A lot of it has to do with CBDG money, and so some of your vans were provided through CDBG money. So if we do not participate in the census, that means less people, which means less money, which means, you see where I'm going? Right, less resources for our town. So that's why, again, it's critically important that we participate. And it's just important for the town, for all of you, and for the town government.
Good, that's good. So we expect to have someone here next month.
Great.
To come down and talk about
Robin Steinberg in our planning department
right.
is leading point on this for us. So if you have any questions, you can go to her directly or myself or Jenna in the back, and we can always get you answers to anything you might have. Yes, Mrs. Carroll.
Do you have any idea why someone would not want to do the census?
Again, I say this, the question was why someone would not do the census, and I say again, it's just like voting. Why did someone not vote? I can't answer that question. It's a civic responsibility as far as I'm concerned, your civic duty. Same with the census. But a lot of times it's, people forget, they say, yeah, I'll get to it, and they don't, there's always a million reasons for people's personal choices, but that's why we're trying to encourage everyone to participate and understand the importance to our town, and how that impacts all of you.
Good. That's very important. It's going to be very important. So we're going to try to pay attention. Next month, if they do come, we're going to listen very carefully to what they have to say and try to help them any way that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. We appreciate that. And
Wonderful.
again, I can have Robin come
That would be nice,
for
yes.
a meeting as well to provide an update from her standpoint. We're really looking at this thing. I believe we're only looking at a time frame through June, to be honest with you. And so it's going to be a fast and furious process.
Actually, I think July.
July?
I think what I saw in the paperwork.
July?
There was no firm answer though.
Right. I think July is the absolute deadline, but we're trying to get everything done by June. Yeah.
So will you reach out to Robin, and I will call her, and perhaps this way she'll know what I'm talking
absolutely.
about. Okay.
Absolutely.
Very good. Very good.
So like I said, a lot of exciting things going on in town. A lot of great initiatives that we're very excited that we're going to be bringing forth. Yes, ma'am. What?
No more. Come on.
What programs did she say?
Yeah. So for the mic, the question was, is there more that we can do to support our seniors and senior services and senior programming? Absolutely. is the bottom line. Obviously, seniors today are not the same seniors as they used to be, and I don't have to tell all of you that. Obviously, life expectancy is increased, and we have much more active seniors, which is great. It's awesome. And we need to make sure that we have the programs and services in place to support our seniors. And so, again, I look to partnership with this committee to provide some feedback as to
Noreen is here as well. She always comes to these meetings.
Great.
So,
How are you? So again, our town government's here to partner with all of you. So if you have suggestions, again, it's not a problem. I don't believe in problems. I only believe in solutions.
Box in the back.
There's a suggestion. There is a suggestion.
yeah,
box?
there is a suggestion box in the back. Yes.
All right. Well, you can put your suggestion box in the back over there, right by Jenna. And we're always obviously looking for feedback and looking for ideas. And so if you go to a town, I know Jenny and I have talked about, what is it, the Friendship Center? Or no, it was the one in Mayapack. Mayapack has a very active senior center up there.
Right.
Yes. And obviously that's something that we can take a look at and see what programs that they provide and try. Briarcliff Manor.
Putnam Valley, yeah.
But we need the center.
But considering what we've seen, Yorktown is really great. Noreen will attest to that. I mean, we've got many, many programs, but as Noreen will tell you, we get these programs for our seniors, which are free, but they have to be attended, because if they're not attended, we will lose them. Am I right, Maureen?
Right.
Noreen, and we just, when these are published, please go to them, because otherwise we lost one program because it was not attended properly.
Yes.
We have those 2 new programs, dancing programs in Yorktown. They are fantastic.
Yes.
And
We have a lot.
more people each
Awesome.
week.
Yeah, we have a lot here that they don't have in other places. Like you say, we just got another van, which is going to help us a lot. We're really very, very lucky, and we have Noreen, who really, she does such a fantastic job.
That's a great job. Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, you have to be at the executive board meetings when we really go at it, and then we look nice when we're here. We talk to but
That's why we close the door.
Yeah.
But we do. I hope everybody knows that. If you've seen other town programs and other senior programs, we have one of the best. We really do.
Yep.
We do.
Absolutely. It's great. And any way that we can support, and any way that we can partner with all of you, we're always willing to do
Every
it.
time I go to a board meeting, they go, "Oh, there she goes again, freebies." That's who I am, and that's what we work for.
No, it's good. Actually, Jenny and I worked on the that supplement in the chamber.
Yes, for the senior discounts.
Senior discount
It was
that
very,
we're
very
continuing
small,
to
but
build.
we're going to get much better with it. We have something else we'll be handing out to you. But when I brought it to the executive board and to the town, the office there, they had a lot more that they wanted to put in there. So I'm going to redo them again, and I'm going to redo it. Here's what it looked like in the beginning. But when I get it back, it'll probably be front and back, because we're going to add a lot more phone numbers. These are phone numbers that we feel that you're going to want, that if you ever want to get in touch with anybody, whether it be our political people or our town people, the numbers will be here. And one of the things, Matt, which I would love for you to tell them about, is our TV government channel.
Sure.
That if they can't come to town board meetings or whatever, you can get so much on the town government channel.
And Tommy, can you give us a yell back there? You hear the guy behind the curtain over there? He runs the whole thing, but Tom does a great job.
Does a great job, yes, he does.
And but our government channel does have a lot of this information.
Channel 20 and Channel 33 for FiOS and Channel 20 for Optimum. If you can't get to any of our meetings that are held in town, a town hall or any place, they're televised. And also the information you get on that channel is just wonderful. You get your garbage pickup, everything is on that channel.
No, it's really good. And the other thing that we're moving to as well, in addition to the TV channel, is we just set up our town YouTube page. So all of our meetings are going to be put up on our YouTube page as well. So you can watch them either at home. You can watch them if you're on the beach and you got a tablet with you. Whatever you want to do, you can keep up to date with everything going on here in town. And we're trying to be as transparent and proactive as we can.
I've been told by some snowbirds that they actually do watch our senior advisory board meetings.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so
I'm sure.
Jenny is preparing this list. This list we are doing for the seniors, so that when we talk about something and we ask you to refer to your state government or someone here in town or whatever, you're going to have this list ready at your disposal with their telephone numbers on them. So this will be handed out to you shortly, probably.
If I can ask, when you do complete the list,
Yeah.
I'd like you to present it to the town board.
Okay.
Come to a town
I
board meeting.
thought you were going to get it today. I thought
Yeah.
it was great. But they added so many other things to it, which is what we're all about.
Yes, we just want to make it as easy as possible for you to get in touch with someone in your government that can help you out with whatever issue we have. We don't know that we can't resolve everything, but we can certainly try to guide you into the right direction. So that's what we're about.
Yep. And I just got my, I'm very excited. I just got back from supervisor school. And I walked, it was something, let me tell you. And I walk in and my business cards are waiting for me. So there's a stack of business cards in the back. If you ever need me, my information's back there. Again, you don't have to wait for town board meetings or senior advisory committee meetings. Just come and say hi. Just come and say hi. We're always here. Doors open. We're here to work. It's been a lot of fun. We're very excited. We got a lot of great things that we're going to be doing together. And having all of you participate and engage is a critical component to all of that. So I really do appreciate your time and
Thank
everything
you.
that you're doing
Thank
for our
you.
community.
Is he keeping that? No, I need
Oh, you need his back?
You'll get the corrected copy. Okay.
Thank you again, everyone. Appreciate it.
Another question that I frequently get asked as I walk around town is the question of the cable TV. I understand that a number of people have had their cable bills rising and are concerned about that. So I asked my friend Frank McVetti, who's in the back. Come up, Frank. I've asked my friend Frank McVetti, who's on the cable TV committee, which deals directly with the town board, to come up and talk to us a little bit about what your options are. And he doesn't look too happy, so I'm not... Thank you, Frank.
Frank
Thank
never
you.
really looks all that happy.
Oh, is that the idea? Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm on the Cable Advisory Board, and I'm going to have to say this. Unfortunately, the town council years ago didn't listen to us, and we're in a little predicament now. We lost the TV studio, which was the local access for Yorktown, and at the time, Verizon told us they were going to can the TV studio because they weren't in the TV business. Well, obviously, FiOS is in the TV business. At least they were until a week ago, 2 weeks ago. They stopped their stuff. Anyway, coming back to the cost of it has constantly been rising. If you do have specials, they'll offer you $14.95 a month for XYZ, and that expires. And a lot of these specials have expired, and that's why you see that your cable bill has gone up. There is a thing called provision. No, I can't think of the name. When you call the cable company to ask, what was it? Thank you, Mary. When you call up and it's retention. Yes.
We can't hear you. You have no microphone.
Hello. Is this? Okay. It's called retention. Usually, what happens when you get your bill and you're freaking out, you call the company, and the first person you talk to can't do anything for you. They're just regular line people. You ask for the retention department. These are the people that actually have the power to give you that extra special for the next year that will reduce your cost. There's nothing, cable is going to go up like everything else. Your cost of milk, your cost of bread, cost of anything electronic is going to go up. You are fortunate here in Yorktown, that we have two competing operations, Cablevision and Verizon. You can bargain one against the other. You can say, if you have Cablevision, you say, no, look, I'm having a problem here. I'm thinking of changing. You'd be surprised. A lot of times they will snap to and say, okay, let me look up. And they're looking up. It's like the automobile dealer. What the salesman says, let me talk to the manager. Mm-hmm. He's not talking to the manager. He's going back and he's like, let me see it. I'll wait a little bit longer. Okay, I am allowed to do this. The manager says I could do this. Well, they're allowed to do that. So you have to bargain like anything else in the world. You have to shop around. We are fortunate. There are people that I know that only have Cablevision. There's no way to bargain other than going to retention. So that's all I can tell you. We are fortunate. We do have two systems here that we can compete one against the other. I'm on Verizon only because Cablevision was off the wall for me. But if Verizon keeps going up, you see the flyers all the time. I don't have one with me. If you bombarded in the mail with Optimum is offering you this, offering this, when you call up, well, we can't give you that. Why? Because you're a customer already. Oh, you can't give me this thing because I'm a customer already?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
That tells you something about the company. So,
Right.
no, they don't have a monopoly here. You have competition. If Verizon was not here, then then your argument would be legitimate. Yes.
If you ask for the retention department, that you really, because I've had luck with that too in getting the price down. And actually nowadays you're not even monopolized, even if it's only Cablevision in your area because of satellite TV. You could say, I'm going to bring in Dish. Hey, you could say it. I'm not saying it's a great option.
You want to talk about satellite? A friend of mine has DirecTV, and they're raping him. Excuse the expression. I'm sorry, but they've taken him over the coals because he, unfortunately, has no cable and no other thing other than getting a satellite. So you want to talk about being really tough. What you should do is, before you call, if you have Cablevision now, what you should do is call Verizon or go online to Verizon and find out what kind of deals they have. Therefore, when you call Optimum or Cablevision, as I call them, you can say they can tell you, this is what I want. This is what I will pay. And if they're still, as you said, obstinate, don't want to do anything, then you make the change. And it's good for a year or 2 years, and then at the end of the 2 years, you go shopping again. Mm-hmm. It's just like going to the store. And it's not, they put in the cables, they put in all the rest of the stuff, but you got to know what you want. Yes, ma'am.
I said to him, what? He said, yes, for 1 year, stay the same, and I'll give you another program. What do you want? And I said, what do you mean, what do I want? I don't even know what's out there. So he started mentioning some, and I picked Showtime. And he said, fine, it's yours for free for a year. He said, the only thing I'm telling you to do, call the middle of December of this year and make another deal. So I called my friend,
how about that?
Everybody's calling now to get a deal. So it's possible. Pick up the phone and call Optimum, and they'll give you a deal. I did not give up anything. I got something.
Good.
What I've been paying for the last few years.
And
Good
you
for
are
you.
a smart shopper.
She's a good shopper. And you know, the more people that call, the more they're going to have to address this. So, you know, it's...
On a quick subject, anybody have Sirius Radio?
Yes.
Do the same thing with Sirius.
Yep. I did
They
that.
want
I did that.
$18 a month or something like that. They got them down to $6.95.
Yeah, I did the same
It's
thing.
just bargaining.
You have to
That's
cry
what
a
it
little
is.
bit, that's all.
Yes.
They own Optimum.
Altice is
Altice
Optimum.
is the French company that brought out Cablevision.
Optimum.
It's Optimum. They keep changing their names. They used to be What was the original name when we came?
Cablevision.
No, before
You think,
Cablevision.
do you think I'm going to admit to
Adams-
remembering that?
Anybody remember Adams Russell?
Yes.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Somebody back there? Yeah. What's that? Yeah. That's how old, they know how old we are now. Watch out.
Well, thank you
That's-
very
that's-
much.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you,
That was very
Frank.
That
helpful.
helped clear up.
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Oh, I don't
Frank
know.
came on very short notice, so we thank him very much.
Jenny, what's his name?
I think the message throughout here is that if you call, that's why it's so important that we get these numbers together for you, that if you do call and you do complain, not just one person, but many of us, that they're going to have to pay attention. So that's I think, the moral of that story. I had a few things I wanted to go over. If I could find my notes, I'd be happy to do it. Okay. Some of the things that we've been talking about, we have the suggestion box in the back. You don't even have to sign your name. All you have to do is make the suggestion, and we do look at it, and we try to get somebody involved who can help you answer whatever question you had. We wanted to talk, I spoke to the town clerk this morning. You know, they have a, I don't know what to call it exactly, but it's like, it looks like, what am I going to call that? It's like a bulletin board, and you could actually put flyers in there. It's right near the clerk's office. We're going to ask her, she has included the senior newsletter in that. We're going to ask her to include stuff that we have as well. For instance, I went to visit a friend who told me that both she and her husband were not able to shop anymore. They weren't driving, and they called ShopRite and had them deliver their food to them. So I went to ShopRite, and they have a big office in the Cortland Manor store. I went back and had a chat with them, and they gave me a bunch of these flyers, which I'm going to put in the back. There's actually a 1-800 number, and her experience was very positive. She said everything was very fresh and very nice. So for any seniors who have to be home for either a short period of time or whatever, we're going to have this available to you outside here by Town Hall, so you can pick up a copy for yourself, as well as copies of these phone numbers when we complete the list. Yes? Okay, so we'll call Stop and Shop and ask them if they can also supply. But she was very happy with the service that she got. She said everything was very fresh. It looked like it, it had never been even put out. And so in a pinch, if you're incapacitated for any period of time, I think, Noreen, you don't have to be, are you a senior, Noreen? Okay. But Maureen, one moment. Maureen did use it because she had an injury some time ago, and she herself used it and said it was quite good. Yes.
Yeah, Uncle Giuseppe does it too.
Uncle Giuseppe has it as well. Yes. So we're going to try to get those numbers for you, and we can add them to the list perhaps. So whatever stores we can get, we're going to add them to the list so you'll have them for yourselves. And of course, as you can see, Jim Moderano Jr., would you like to come up and say a few words about the new newsletter? Okay.
He's very proud of it.
Jim, before you get started, I want to thank you very much for the new chairs that we have in room 16.
My pleasure. I told you I promised.
Were you
to-
able?
believe.
Were you able to change the other order so we get arms?
No arms.
No.
It depends on where you're having your.
Oh no, because
meetings,
you
right?
had there was some on back order. I thought you said you were going to try and because these that we did receive didn't have the arms, but he's going to try and get the ones with the arms.
Specifically, that was already ordered, so I can't get the ones with the arms
Right.
there for the senior center. But where Noreen, for the nutrition, the arms are more necessary there, right?
Yes.
Noreen, you have arms on yours? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So there's also space issues when it came to arms versus non-arms in the senior
Right.
center room. So if you had arms, then you'd only have 4 or 5 chairs around the tables, and that would limit your space on who could sit there all at once. So that was a contributing factor of why you went no arms.
Well, I really
in that
want to
room
thank you
specifically.
because those other chairs were really
Yes.
bad. Thank you so
You're
much.
very
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you. So just with the senior flyer, just very simple fixes. You're going to see a change in color. Some people love it, some people hate it. But just so you know which one you have. So in March, when the new one comes out, it will be a different color. We have pink for Valentine's Day coming up for this one, and the next March and April will be a different color. So if you walk by it in the newsstand, you don't think you already had it. You now know it's a new color, so you need to go pick it up in the newsstand. So that's a simple fix there. Yep.
Want it?
Sure. I mean, I'll pass it down.
Okay, I'd like the format changed a little bit. If you could talk to the board here about changing the format.
I'll take some notes on that. So obviously we still have some kinks. So like Matt said, your suggestions are important to us, and that's how we make the changes that are appropriate for you guys. When you in the front page is pretty much the same thing, programs that are going on around town. But when you open up the first change, we worked with the Chamber of Commerce to show you guys how many different places that offer discounts for seniors, and we think that's very important for you guys to know who's offering senior discounts. So, what? Yes, thank you. That's great.
On the senior discounts, I just want to put a little note in there that if you're traveling Metro North will give you a senior discount in Croton.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
We might have to add that here.
Yep.
It's not just Croton. It's also
We've been working with
Brewster.
Teresa on our travel trips, so that's on page 2 there. So any trips that are being offered are going to be in there as well. And then what I'm also proud of is it's not stapled in. You know, the one I had in Mount Pleasant was stapled. This is not stapled. So what you can do is you can take this middle insert and put it on your fridge. This has a calendar of all of our rec programming that is being offered. So you know, as you wake up in the morning, you can kind of see what we have going on in town and work your schedule around what we're doing here for our senior program, which is great. I reached out to the library as well. They're always going to have a page of all the senior programming that they have going on. I know they have their own little flyer, but why have you guys travel all different places to get different information of what's going on with senior programming? You should be able to just go to one spot and know what's going on in the whole town for things for you to do. So they will have this month where they'll highlight the next 2 months. This is January and February's activities at the library. So I'll continue to work with Jennifer, who's the director over there, on providing you this information.
And they're available in Town Hall, at the Nutrition Center, I believe, Noreen, as well, and at the library, you say.
Yep.
Now, the only thing I would like to see is a box right here
Okay.
that says Senior Advisory Committee or Board,
Yep.
third Friday, and at Town Hall, because while it even though the time of day was wrong in the flyer,
We'll get that
it said
correct.
1:30, it's 1 o'clock. But when you say Town Hall, well, where's the meeting? So you should have a little box in there that just says we meet the third Friday of the month at 1 o'clock at Town Hall.
We'll certainly make that adjustment. And then on the second to last page here, Noreen will have her own page where she can advertise programs that are coming up or any other program or the list of programs that she has going on. She has a new program that just started this month, so she wanted to make sure she advertised that in her page. Question in the back. Online, you can go to Your Town Parks and Recreation. You just Google Your Town Parks and Recreation, and you should be able to follow the prompts to upload the senior flyer. And then finally, last page, this is going to make your life simple when you come to my office. The back page is a registration form that you would normally only see at my office. Now you have it in your hand, so instead of sitting there in a line and filling it out, you can fill it out at home and just bring it to our office and sign up for the programming. We also have a drop box at Recreation, so if we're not open, you fill it out at home and put it in the drop box. So just make sure. It's right up the steps at our office at Sparkle Lake. It's a black drop box. You just drop it right in there, and you're signed up essentially for the course. If there's any issues where it's filled up and you weren't able to talk to us, we'll call you immediately, letting you when we get it the next morning that unfortunately that class would be filled up. Yeah. Question in the back. Can you apply online? No, not at this time. We are.
We're working on it.
Yeah, Supervisor Slater and I are working with a couple companies that provide that service for online registration. We're not quite there yet, but we are very close. We're kind of on the goal line there, and we're almost ready to execute.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Now,
Yes.
some seniors don't have online capabilities, so yes, you will still be able to sign up in person with this. So we're not going to go completely online, but we'll just have that as another option. Yes.
I just noticed under Home Depot, it says veterans and others. Are we others?
I would imagine so. For that, for instance, you'd have to ask the chamber that in any specific question regarding their page. But sure, I would imagine you qualify.
I don't mind being in.
Let them know when you get there. Say, hey, I'm mother. Make sure you.
Well, some of them, like A.C. Moore and Michaels, used to have for veterans and teachers and, different categories. So I know I couldn't list all of them. So I know the veterans that they do definitely give them a discount. And I think they give seniors, but I'm not sure about all of them. So I would just ask. The thing is, no matter where you go, when you check out, you say, "Do you give any discounts?"
Mm-hmm.
You're a senior, you're a veteran, you're a teacher. A lot
ARP's member?
Yeah, ARP gives discounts, plenty of discounts. So always, even when you call your telephone, any place. I know. Whether it's my telephone bill, because I wasn't getting a bill at home, they gave me $5 off. I mean, I begged for, I got on the phone, I cried a little bit, and I said, you must have something there to give to seniors. So I said, I don't get my bill, so you're saving on that. Okay, we'll give you $5 off a month. Well, it was $5 that I got off. So always ask them.
Uncle Giuseppe gives the same bill that Turco's gave, the same discount as Turco's gave on Tuesdays. So you have to have that his little card. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Always ask, no matter where you go, always ask.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you very much.
And also, sometimes there may be a typo. If you see any typos, please bring it to my attention. We will get those fixed and fix them on the reprints.
Okay, we are, I think, ready to adjourn. Remember that next month we will be meeting on Friday, February 21st at 1 o'clock. Hopefully Senator Harkin will be able to be here, and we'll have another great program and lunch for you. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you.